on the state line of Virginia and West Virginia, and on the front line of maternal health, is where we find Kathleen McCoy, a maternal fetal medicine doctor specializing in high-risk pregnancies.
I always tell people, both you and your fetus are my patient.
Over the course of nearly 4 decades, and with offices in both states, she says she's treated thousands of women experiencing problems in pregnancy.
We're getting people that are coming in hoping everything's normal and they want to carry the pregnancy.
But sometimes, instead, families end up facing gut-wrenching news.
I have never gotten used to walking in a room and telling people that their children will not survive, their child will not survive. It's a terrible thing to have to do.
McCoy says her job is to help families make the best decisions in the worst of circumstances, which sometimes means ending a pregnancy.
This is about compassion, respect, and autonomy.
But now she's afraid her ability to help families make choices is in jeopardy as the legal landscape shifts around her. In West Virginia, which has just one abortion clinic, lawmakers are preparing to pass a new law prohibiting most abortions. And in Virginia, Governor Glenn Youngkin has called for a ban on abortions after 15 weeks. McCoy says both proposals are far too strict for the types of complications her patients face, medical problems that don't always have quick or easy answers.
I think we're making laws without really understanding these situations.
The impact of the Supreme Court decision was felt immediately in West Virginia, where the Attorney General ruled an 1849 law making abortion a felony was suddenly enforceable, overriding current law permitting abortion up to 20 weeks. The Monday after the decision, a woman arrived in McCoy's Martinsburg office with a fetus in trouble.
And we just simply looked at her and said, we're sorry, based on the laws in West Virginia, you're going to need to come to our Virginia office so we can talk to you about what's going on.
All those in favor will vote yea, those opposed will vote nay.
The West Virginia legislature is still hammering out the details for House Bill 302, a new law to prohibit abortions. The measure has some exceptions, including for rape and incest if the assaults are reported, as well as for medical emergencies or a non-medically viable fetus, one that can't live outside the womb. But lawmakers in the House and Senate disagree on whether medical providers who terminate pregnancies should face criminal penalties. McCoy says all of this could drive providers like her out of the state.
It doesn't feel safe to practice in West Virginia because it's not apparent to me even that when somebody could come after us as practitioners in healthcare.
Even before the fall of Roe, a March 2021 report by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services predicted a worsening shortage of OBGYNs in West Virginia and Virginia by 2030.
I don't know who will end up doing obstetrics in these states, and I think it's really going to be an issue.
It is not an intention of any person supporting this legislation to scare doctors.
Republican State Senator Patricia Rucker represents part of the Eastern Panhandle and voted against the bill because it didn't go far enough. She opposed an amendment that would drop criminal penalties for doctors unlawfully performing abortions and instead subject them to licensure review.
There were measures put in that just, I felt, took away almost all accountability and just made the law unenforceable.
Rucker says while doctors like McCoy, who are treating high-risk pregnancies, are not the target of the bill, they would have recourse if their medical judgment is challenged.
You still have all of the due process rights of defending yourself. And in almost all of these cases, they do almost always seek a second opinion from another doctor. It wouldn't just be based just on her alone.
In Virginia, where Governor Youngkin is calling for a 15-week ban, McCoy warns it could force some families to make a decision before they're ready.
It's a rare person that we have all the answers already by 15 weeks.
It might compel them to make a decision to beat the clock and end the pregnancy.
Absolutely. I can't imagine practicing in Virginia if we end up with a 15-week law.
We are a safe haven, and we're going to fight like hell to make sure it stays that way.
That's Virginia State Senator Louise Lucas, a Democrat who heads the committee that will consider any abortion legislation.
These kind of restrictions would definitely have an adverse impact on doctors in that it could criminalize them and it would keep them from being able to provide the health care services that pregnant people are seeking.
Lucas notes Virginia already has rules about when an abortion can be performed. Current law permits the procedure until the end of the second trimester, and in the third trimester only if the mother's life or health is at risk.
It makes complete sense to me that we have a limitation around the time of viability. I am comfortable with that.
But McCoy stepping out of her comfort zone now, speaking publicly for the first time about abortion. She's doing it with the hope that lawmakers in both states leave decisions to patients and their doctors. In Winchester, Virginia, I'm Julie Carey, News 4.